All right, so let's get started. So, today is free talk today every Saturday. Every Saturday evening time in Europe and then midnight in Japan. So, today we can learn something together in Japanese. Okay, so, Emarisa, yeah. Hello, hello, hello. So, yesterday, actually, I just finished the lesson today, and then always Saturday, I do this free lesson and live streaming. And if you have any request, we can actually learn together. So, for example, like today, in the lesson with my student, it had a really, really good question that is, uh, if you actually live in Japan, and then if somebody is talking to you all the time in English, somebody talk to you in English, but you want to practice in Japanese, and then yeah, like of course because your face is totally foreigner, and then you actually meet a Japanese person, and of course no one can expect that you can speak Japanese, right? And then how you gonna do? Either you speak English because you're a foreigner, or because you can speak Japanese, so you can speak to them in Japanese. But if this Japanese person is maybe just talking to you all the time in English, and then uh, you feel like I want to practice more Japanese than English, and then well, how are you gonna do? That things it's happened to me too, right? For example, I'm currently living in Europe, and then my face is totally Asian, and then of course people talk to me in English. No one can recognize that I can speak a little bit German, I can speak a little bit Greek, right? But it's if I'm just speaking only English because people talk to me in English, I will never actually really improve my other language, right? Then what should we do? Then I said, you can actually speak Japanese, even the people actually talking to you in English, especially if you want to improve your Japanese with the Japanese people. What do you think? Maybe, for example, you're not maybe living in Japan. If you are not living in Japan, no one talk to you in Japanese, unfortunately. And then how you gonna practice? Alone, or you study by yourself with a TV, with an anime, YouTube. But actual conversational training, how you gonna do? If you're just watching anime, it's just you cannot improve your pronunciation, right? So you really need to improve your pronunciation. You really need to speak a little bit faster. Then you need to use your mouth, right? Not just watching something or you just reading something. So, what do you think? What is actually the best way you can actually learn and improve your pronunciation Japanese? So, today I can share some lessons together. And what we do here with the group session with my student, I can share. Let me check if I can share the screen. Okay. So if somebody has a comment, then you can comment here. Let me see. Before starting, let me check. Okay. If you have any requests, you can write down here on the chat. I'm just checking my chat. All right. Sound seems muted. Really? You cannot hear me? Really true? You no one can hear me? That's weird. Are you sure? Oh, 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 oh. Yeah, like it's recognizing. Let me check. Let me check from this system. If you have any yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. It's I think you can hear. You can hear me. I thought that it's you cannot hear. Okay, okay, great. So, and Marisa, thank you so much for your comment. And so my fear is that I might not be pronouncing words right and they will make a fun of me. I can hear. Yeah, that's maybe true. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's check. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Awesome. Antonio san, awesome. Perfect. So let's actually answer this question. My fear is that I might not be pronouncing words right and then they will make fun of me, right? Yeah, that's most actually people don't want to speak so much any languages when you are learning different language because your pronunciation sounds stupid maybe. Or maybe your pronunciation is totally wrong and then no one can recognize what you're saying, right? When you're learning different language, always you have this, the first fear is this one, right? Maybe your pronunciation sounds totally wrong and people cannot actually understand. That's why the pronunciation training is most important than any other things, especially if this person want to speak that language. That's why, and a lot of actually people are spending time with a textbook, grammar. Again, this is not pronunciation training, and then vocabulary. Like just looking at the vocabulary book again, it's not pronunciation training, and it's no one can really focus pronunciation exercises. Then what's happened is so much time you spend the time with the study and then right now you want to speak with the people and then you don't have confidence because you never really almost invest your time with the pronunciation training. So pronunciation training is a not actually difficult, but you really need time. That's the problem. That's the problem. So I think maybe I can show you some pronunciation training today. Well, how I do pronunciation training. Pronunciation training in any language. Because I think you guys want to learn Japanese first, and then we can do pronunciation training today in Japanese first, right? So, for example, what is actually the most difficult pronunciation? For example, I'm currently teaching a lot of Americans. I mean, English-speaking people. Plus, for example, yes, of course, I have some European people, and then Greek people, of course. And the really funny things, I mean, really interesting things is each country has a different, of course, pronunciation in the language, in the country. So the pronunciation that they feel difficult to pronounce is different. For example, it was so interesting. American people, I mean English speaking country people, they are native English speaker, and they cannot pronounce it rarirurero. That's really, really common. So all English speaking country people na rarirurero. They cannot pronounce it well. I can write down. Let me check here. So the proper pronunciation hiragana, rarirurero is not Earl, because a lot of American people say, hey, 私の名前はアメリカ、いや、私はアメリカ人です。It's not exactly Japanese. It's like Americanized Japanese. So then how you can say really just simply America, America, right? But it's maybe native English speakers say America, America. And that's actually the common things happen because they really used to say America. Of course, that's in English, right? So, but it's you have to change the tone, right? If you need to change the tone, plus you need to change your pronunciation. So, the step by step pronunciation training. So, let's say you want to pronounce United States, America, America in Japanese step by step. Let's do this. This rarirurero exercises. For example, you cannot say rarirurero. That's actually a lot of American people say rarirurero. It's correct in English. Japanese is wrong. But then how you can change it? So the tan is not r, and it's not l. It's not Earl and it's not L. Japanese Earl, doesn't exist Japanese Earl. Japanese rarirurero is not Earl, it's not L. So I have to write down these things. It's not exactly rarirurero. It's not rarirurero is not ra, re, ru, re, ro. So because if you see the Romaji, like a Roman alphabet, you actually probably gonna read like this rarirero is ra 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 ra, but it's not. So it's not L and it's not R, and then Japanese this tongue is here. So between R, not roaring, and not L, not so like really light. So it's in the middle. So la, la. It sounds like a da. So that's a lot of people actually pronounce it. It's like a the, but it's not a the. It's not da. It's la, 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 la. So if you can say li, li, so then now you can hear say the, but it's not the. It's li, li, la, li, lu. It's not like a the. It's not the. It's lu, la, li, lu, le, le. It's not ra. It's not ra. It's not le. So le, lo, la, li, lu, le, do. It sounds like a the, de, do, but it's not da, di, the, do. It's not ra, 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 ra. It's not la, li, la, la. So it's Japanese rarirero it's almost impossible to actually write it down in English. It's not English. You need to just figure out how this tongue is going, right? Otherwise, you will never be able to pronounce it properly. You cannot imagine how many Japanese people cannot pronounce it this ra 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 properly, because that's between Japanese and then a native English speaker. That's actually the both we are struggling. If you actually see Japanese people and try to pronounce it America, then they say America, which is Japanese pronunciation. Then when you actually say native English speaker try to say America, they're gonna say America. So that's rariredo is very difficult for a native English speaker. And then oral L pronunciation is very difficult for Japanese people because we don't have this pronunciation, right? Then, but it's if you don't solve this pronunciation problem, later you're gonna actually have problem. A lot of actual words you cannot pronounce it because rariredo we have so much, right? For example, what kind of words we have? For example, ryoko. So this is pronunciation 旅行に行きたいです. So if you, let's say you want to say 旅行に行きたいです. I want to go to the traveling. I want to go for trip. I want to go for trip. I want to go for trip. Then it has a, again 旅行. But a lot of people say ryoko, ryoko, but it's not ryoko. So you don't say ryo. It's not ro. It's more tan is really more touching here. And 旅行に行きたいです。旅行に行きたいです。旅行に行きたいです。I want to go for trip. A lot of people, because has this pressure in the beginning, 旅行に行きたいです. But then I want to go for a trip or something. It's just a not Japanese tone. Japanese tone is 旅行に行きたいです。旅行に行きたいです。旅行に行きたいです。旅行に行きたいです。Not ryoko, not ryoko. A lot of people actually, especially native English speakers say ryoko, but it's Japanese word. It's never happened like a huh. It's always huh. 旅行、ending it's down and it's going up. It's always 旅行に行きたいです. Is I want to go for a trip. So this is rarirurero exercises. It was really difficult for me too when I actually learned English because I know only rarirurero. But if I don't fix my problem, it's gonna be my English is gonna be really suck. So like I cannot even say traveling, right? Traveling. It's gonna be traveling, which is Japanese English. It's not cool. So you can definitely pronounce it much better if you do the pronunciation training. Also, a lot of people have a problem with like tsu pronunciation. Japanese tsu. So this actually hiragana is pronunciation is tsu, right? So tsu is very common hiragana. And of course, you can start from tsu, for example, つまらない。つまらないですね。ちょっとつまらないですね。つまらない。つまらない means it's boring. It's boring. Or I'm bored. So つまらない. So a lot of people cannot pronounce this つ also. A lot of people say ちゅ、ちゅ、ちゅ。But it's not a ちゅまらない. It's not ちゅまらない. It's つまらない. つまらない. It sounds much better right now. つまらない. It's boring. ちゅまらない is English Japanese. So try to say つまらない is it's boring. ちょっとつまらないですね。ちょっとつまらないですね。A little bit. It was a little bit boring. Yeah, you can say it's つまらないですね。You're watching some TV, a bit boring. A bit boring is ちょっとつまらないですね. So the pronunciation training, because a lot of people have trouble with つ. So ちょっとつまらないですね。ちょっとつまらないですね. ちょっとつまらないですね。So, you can see a lot of Japanese people pronounce like this so fast. It's like English. A lot of people actually, connect the words to word and they totally uh, pronounce it differently than actual spelling. For example, English, like a lot of apples. A lot of no one actually, no native people say a lot of apples, a lot of apples, a lot of something, right? So Japanese also the same things. We never actually say ちょっとつまらないですね. We don't pronounce it all hiragana. Never, never. Always we actually kind of connect the pronunciation. ちょっとつまらないですね。つまらないっすね。つまらないっすね。We don't say つまらないですね. So that's actually the native tone. We never say ですね. If you say it's like it's just so how can I say, it's definitely not native pronunciation. Like a lot of apples. But usually native people say a lot of apples. So it's exactly same if you say ちょっとつまらないですね. Then it's funny pronunciation. So you need to get used to speak Japanese like a native from actual native pronunciation. You can't actually recognize what is a native pronunciation from hiragana. If you're just looking at the hiragana every day, it's just you will never understand what is a native pronunciation. Because as I said, actual spelling, actual pronunciation is very different. So that's why just please see the letter plus actual native tone at the same time. No meaning if you're just looking at the hiragana. You're gonna definitely learn ちょっとつまらないですね. But it's actual native people never say like this. It's usually we say ちょっとつまらないですね. 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 Wow, super different. You're gonna have a problem with listening. A lot of people say like, oh, I learning Japanese was a textbook. I can't understand what the native Japanese people are saying. Obviously, because you're learning with textbook with hiragana without the actual native pronunciation. Of course, right? Of course. The actual native tone you have to see or you have to really listen with the audio file or with the actual native person. And the best actual way to learn is spelling and the pronunciation, actual native pronunciation at the same time. As I said, it's like English, a lot of apples, but you cannot recognize if you're not hearing the native pronunciation. How you can recognize it? So actually, it's not a lot of apples. That's the Japanese things. Each phrases, it's happen. Please do not study only with a textbook without any pronunciation. You cannot speak the language naturally. So, thank you so much for commenting me. And if you have any question, you can write down on the comment here on YouTube or Facebook. And all right, so yes, absolutely true. All languages are like that. It's different what you learn in books than what you learn from the native talking. Yes, exactly. Exactly. That's all languages are also the same, right? So that's why if you want to be smart, if you really want to speak the language like a native, you can't learn from textbook. Actually, the textbook is something you can learn is the language system, grammar. But it's you cannot really understand anything about natural conversation. That's why most of people cannot be a fully bilingual or fully actually trilingual or multilingual, because you can't be multilingual with just a textbook. So that's why you can definitely figure out what is the fastest way to be bilingual, multilingual, trilingual, whatever. So me personally, how I do. So this 6 years, I learned English, Greek, and German. And I hate to speak the language like really unnatural way. I hate it, like, because I told you, like, here was the first actually comment, right? Here, exactly the same reason. I don't want to people I don't want people laugh at me by ha ha ha, your pronunciation is so funny, oh, like, it looks stupid or something. I don't know. Some people judge me, some people don't judge me, whatever. But it's just you decided to learn language. Why you have to go for the bad pronunciation? Why not? You should go for good pronunciation, right? That's why I always care about the pronunciation. So for example, how I fix this my pronunciation, for example, um especially for example, like English. For example, a lot of Japanese people cannot pronounce a certain, actually, as I said, it's alphabet. And then also certain actually Japanese word phrases in for some countries. And okay, let's actually practice. For example, mm, so I'm writing. It's just very something. It's really really simple. And but it's I never really heard it's really really good pronunciation, this one. Let's practice together this Japanese. I mean, obviously you already know good morning, right? But try to pronounce good morning in Japanese. It's just so easy. But are you can you say like really like a native Japanese? Try to say good morning in Japanese. Try to move your mouth. You're, I'm sure, watching here, but try to pronounce. And a lot of people say ohayo gozaimasu. Ohayo gozaimasu. Totally wrong pronunciation. Totally wrong. Actual pronunciation is "Azaimasu." Azaimasu. Did you say it correctly? This good morning in Japanese. One more time. A lot of people misunderstand this good morning in Japanese is "Ohayo gozaimasu," but it's not. No native Japanese people say "Ohayo gozaimasu." Actual native pronunciation is, repeat after me, "Azaimasu." 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 Okay, so now you recognize that actual native good morning was not "Ohayo gozaimasu." So from the good morning, you actually recognize maybe you misunderstand what is good morning in Japanese. So let's repeat after me 20 times. You can just say good morning in Japanese with a native pronunciation. So 20 times. ありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。 gozaimasu. 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 Perfect. Some people say like I can't hear you. Sergey, hey, hello. Really? Are you sure? Some people say I can't hear you. Some people say I can hear you. I hope you can hear me. I hope. Today, like I don't know. Today, some people say I cannot hear you. Let me one more time check. You can write down here. Oh, that's right. I think we can hear. Yeah, yeah. Okay, great. Perfect, perfect. So we are practicing this pronunciation training, and now you got native pronunciation. Good morning in Japanese was not ohayo gozaimasu. It was gozaimasu. Understand? So unfortunately a lot of Japanese teacher doesn't teach native Japanese pronunciation. I don't know why. It's I don't know why actually. Everybody teach like I think it's maybe because Japanese language is still not famous. That's why maybe a lot of Japanese teacher feel like, okay, it's gonna be too hard to pronounce it like a native Japanese way. Let's just follow textbook. I don't know. A lot of Japanese teachers underestimate foreigners. That's why they don't teach native pronunciation. I feel like this. Um, no one really teach like a just even the good morning. Like everybody say "Ohayo gozaimasu." It's like a child. A lot of Japanese teacher take care of the foreigners. It's like a child. And I don't agree with that because it's they gonna have problem with the listening. A lot of people say I can't understand what they say, and because you don't have good pronunciation, of course you can't understand what they speak. That's why a lesson with me always native pronunciation, always. No textbook pronunciation, no strange like a robot pronunciation. It's native pronunciation because it's the only way you can have a much better listening skill. Mhm. So I'm happy that Sergey can hear me. Thank you so much for joining. Sergey is my student. Thank you. Dankeschön. Dankeschön. So it's the German also. I'm working on German, right? As a Japanese, one of the most difficult German pronunciation is definitely umlaut. Like I think it's u. And I think first 1 month or 2 months I was doing only umlaut. I cannot say music hugen. It's like a listening music is my hobby. My hobby is music hugen. That's so difficult. It's still like I'm practicing, and still I cannot understand the differences between my pronunciation and a native pronunciation. My ears is really fucked up. You know, it's that's the things when you're actually learning the new language. Sometimes you really can't hear the native pronunciation because you're not get used to hear that tone. Like which Japanese person have heard this definitely not. No one. We have only o o. We don't have we don't have no. We have only o, right? So that's so difficult to hear what is the difference. Is it sounds everything same. Like in the beginning it was like this, like sounds everything same. But it's because I'm practicing all the time, and okay, that start understanding a little bit. But you need to, practice so much, so many times, right? That the same things happen in Greek, also the same. So as Japanese, we don't have th and s difference. So we have only sashisu seso, but it's maybe some people has trouble with different pronunciation, like sashisu seso, sashisu seso. And then we have a sha, shu, sho. which is sashi su se so sha shu sho. So sashi su se so. So it's like this is just a SA in English, or like in Greek, it's gonna be sigma alpha. So it's sa. But it's I felt like a little bit more Japanese sashi su se so is like a sashi su se so. Sashi su se so. But it's like I think I don't know. In Greek, sigma is like more. I don't know. It sounds a little more strong. And English, I don't think it's not so strong. Sausage, sausage, sausage. Sausage in Japanese. So anyway, we have this sasisu seso and shashu sho. For example, do you like sushi? Sushi suki desu ka? Sushi suki desu ka? Do you like sushi? Is sushi. We don't say sushi. 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 A lot of people say sushi. But it's not, we don't have sushi. We have only sushi. And picture is shashin, shashin. And this time a lot of people actually have trouble listening. Is they thought that sashin, sashin, but it's not sashin. Its picture is sha, shin, sha, shin. So shashin. So maybe the listening is a bit hard with this sa and sha. Sha is sha. Shashin to sa. Sa is different. So that's differences. It's a bit difficult. But for me, what was really difficult was English S and the TH pronunciation. Like Greek is sigma and theta differences because we don't have pronunciation like like TH, we don't have it. But funny things, German people also doesn't have TH, right? And I recognize German people say three, but they say tree, not three, tree. The same things in Japanese people say, not tree, we say three. SOUREE, three. One, two, three. And I think German people say one, two, three. But the actual English is, I think, one, two, three. Three. So the TH pronunciation is very difficult for Japanese. And then I recognize in German too. I think in the Dutch people too. I hear it's tree. But it's in English, tree is tree, right? Like tree. Tree. Christmas tree. So it's very interesting, the pronunciation exercises. It's so fun for me. It's so fun. Language learning is all about pronunciation training to me, because that's the actually you can speak the language in a proper way, and it's in a cool way. I'm not fan of books. I'm just reading books or just watching anime. I'm not the personally, it's not like that person. It's I just want to talk with the people and have a fun and then go there, enjoy. And that's the thing. And then its pronunciation is very important to me. I don't know. What do you think? You guys, what do you think? So Sergey, thank you so much for helping me. So let's see. A friend of mine in Bulgaria, his wife is Greek, and she learned Bulgarian. And he said for Greek, it's very difficult because it's the pronunciation. Yeah, Greek is also difficult language for. I think it's for a lot of people. I think European people too. I think it's all over the world, maybe because of the pronunciation. But let's say maybe Spanish people speaks Greek, or Italian people speaks Greek is a little bit maybe easier because about the pronunciation is bit similar, I think. And that's actually maybe help like a ra, like a ra, like a ra, has these things to th. I guess they have police star. Anne, thank you so much, police star. And of course, the Greek is the funny thing is because it's not alphabet in the whole Europe. It's only one country. I don't know. Russia is, of course, they have different letters, and yeah, like it's very difficult to recognize. So when I learned Greek, yeah, alphabet was a bit difficult, but still start. Some it just you just need to know it's 20 something letters. It's 30. It's not the Japanese language like 50,000 letters. So still, manageable. You can manage it. So like P, police, so start. And it's Greek is what is the easiest of things is because this tone mark gonna help your pronunciation. That's why pronunciation is if you just used to speak, the letter gonna tell you how to pronounce it. You don't change it. That's the easiest things in Greek. It's not like as I said, it's like a Japanese. It's written oh ha yo gozaimasu in the spelling, but actual pronunciation is gozaimasu. Or like English, like a lot of apples in the spelling, but the actual pronunciation is a lot of apples. But Greek never happened. Greek is whatever spelling is you actually pronounce it. So that's why it's so interesting. Mm. And somehow it's easy too about pronunciation if you really train. Hmm. So even English sounds so different in the U.S. depending on which part of the country you are in. That's really true. Thank you so much for joining. So Maren, Midori Yamada-san. Thank you so much. Yeah, like I don't really know so much about the states difference, how they pronounce it very differently. I'm sure it's Texas English is very different, and the California to New York is different. But I have heard it's like in the some Louisiana some English or something. Plus, of course, British and to Australian English. It's everything is so different. Yeah. So that's why I'm telling you, everybody. It's language learning is all about pronunciation. It's so fun. For me, it's like RPG game. RPG game, it's like a PlayStation RPG game. Pronunciation training is like a game for me. Why? Why? Because like you can make you a different character. Like today, I'm gonna be a Greek person. Yasu tikanis, karaisen, karaisen. It's like you actually really speak like Greek, and then like your face is gonna be like this. It's because Greek people usually talk like this face. Titakanis simera. What are you gonna do today? Barieme. It's boring. So it's actually you become like a Greek person. It's actor. It's like an RPG game today. Which Terumi? Today is Terumi in Greek. Next 1 hour I'm gonna be American. Yeah, how's going? How's going? It's like it's so game for me. What's up? What's up? Because you can really pronounce it, and you feel like a really game, like actor, different person. And then next 1 hour, I'm gonna be a Greek person, American person. I'm gonna go back to Japanese. どうもどうも、はじめまして。てるみです。よろしくお願いします。はい、どうも、よろしくお願いします。You totally become totally different person. And it's so funny, but a lot of people can't change it. A lot of people cannot change it because they don't have pronunciation, good pronunciation. That's why the bad example. Japanese person doesn't change anything. This Japanese character doesn't change, and they speak English. Let's say, "What's up? What's up? Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. My name is Terumi." So it's like a Japanese totally style, and they just speak English. It's like you don't feel it. It's very unnatural. It's the same way if I don't, change my behavior as Japanese, just speak Greek. Yasas. Tikanete. Efkaristo. Tone and everything is really unnatural. So if you can do this pronunciation training, it's gonna be a super fun. It's just a game. Language learning, it's not just about textbook. It's a really you learn the culture and people, and it's like you become actor or singer, something like that. That's actually you can be a natural speaker. But I don't know if you really like to feel like that level, because a lot of people are shy, shy to change it. So, oh, that's amazing. My student Sergey feel like actor. Yes, amazing. That's actually it's a perfect, a nice, cool feeling because you feel like, oh yeah, now I became Japanese. Version 3. So okay, you speak German, Russian, Ukrainian to Japanese. Oh yes, today I'm gonna be Japanese person. Tking. You actually meet Japanese people, you feel like Japanese. If you get bored, okay, I'm gonna be German. Yes, German. So it's like you actually really can enjoy uh, dive into the actual society and the culture because you can really speak and you have really good pronunciation. It's definitely so fun. What do you think? So it's all about speaking training and all about pronunciation training. And if you actually really have good pronunciation, you have amazing listening skill, and even you can be a natural speaker. You can easily join the society. Yeah. So thank you so much, everyone. So Orestes Turantafilu. I think it's his Greek name. So, konbanwa, I work at the airport in Athens and I met a lot of Japanese tourists. Congratulations. They helped me with the correct pronunciation of words, especially when I say 仕事がつまらないです. Great. That's amazing. Yes. I have met one person in Athens airport too. He speak to me in Japanese and I really amazed. And I put it not Instagram, Instagram too and a TikTok. Here.
Trying to speak Japanese at the check-in counter.
Yeah, that was airport. And so, yeah, that's amazing. You can meet the people from all over the world. And then sometimes, of course, you can meet Japanese and you can speak Japanese. So, I'm telling you, 2022, a lot of people still saying, oh, I wish I could be in Japan. If I live in Japan, I will be able to speak Japanese or something. And always I say, first of all, I have been to United States is only for 2 weeks, and then almost I've never visited like any like a famous states. And but it's you can really improve your pronunciation even without living in the United States. You can really imitate American, because it's on internet. and why you actually really need to be there, otherwise you cannot speak. No, no, it was 1950. It was like this, 1950, like 100 years ago. I mean, it's not like 50, 70 years ago. Was yes, if you don't go there, you can't speak because you don't meet the people. But right now, TikTok, YouTube, like whatever, Hello Talk, what is it, this Tinder, or anything. I mean, you can meet Japanese people so easily, and you can prepare. You can become fully bilingual, and you can go there, so you can fully prepared. That's amazing, amazing, right? Because it's internet. Otherwise, I couldn't be English speaker, and imitate the American pronunciation. This is only because it's internet. Why not? Especially internet is free, right? So no worries. Everybody can be a fluent Japanese speaker without going to Japan. That's 2022, right? So, mhm. Thank you so much, Oretis. Ha ha ha. I know him. The Japanese are really amazing. Oh my God, you know him? Oh my God. There are two persons there that speak Japanese. I've been to visit Kyoto, and I will go there as soon as I have enough money. Amazing. Wow. So I met the really rare two people in the whole Athens airport then. Lucky me. Great. So I hope I can meet you, and then you're gonna talk to me. And I will be in Athens maybe this week or next week. Yeah, so maybe you can find me. Thank you so much. Great. And Anna. So yes, talking with locals, getting accent, getting the accent right. So they actually they are more open to you. Yeah, so as I said, it's even if you're not living in Japan, you can definitely meet Japanese people online very very easily. And then a lot of people say to me that it's they are my student is using like a Hello Talk, or like any language exchange application that you can meet people for free. And then also recently my student gonna get married, who he actually met this person through Hello Talk. You're gonna get married with Japanese person. That's so crazy. Yeah, that's of course you have to be able to speak, because finally, oh yeah, I was chatting with Google Translate. Finally, I met her, and you cannot speak at all. Of course, it doesn't go into the serious relationship, but if you can talk, then yeah, now have so much chance to meet the people. Like that's crazy. That's crazy. Next 10 years later, it's gonna be metaverse, 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 and you can actually wearing like a cool VR, and you can even meet people much closer than just on the screen. Imagine like a live streaming on YouTube. Terumi is 3G, and we can even touch. That's gonna be so fun. Yeah, I'm not gonna leave. Maybe leave from the house because I'm working online. I'm doing YouTube. I'm doing TikTok and the metaverse. How can I leave from the house? Okay. So yeah, it's gonna be really really interesting. So, how was it? So, in pronunciation training, we are talking about, and then what do you have any request about pronunciation? If you want to know the right pronunciation in Japanese, like "Good morning" was a really interesting exercise. "Ohayo gozaimasu" was exactly the native pronunciation was no, it's not "Ohayo gozaimasu." A lot of people say "Ohayo." And then, huh? What is that? Ohio is like states in the USA. It's not Ohio. It's Ohio gozaimasu. Gozaimasu. So if you have any requests, you can text me and we can do some pronunciation training. If you guys don't have any requests, I think today's live streaming was a little bit quick, but it's thank you so much for joining. And then next week, it's going to be a similar time on Saturday. Recently, a little bit busy and I cannot set the time, but it's maybe I'm going to set the time next week. So anyway, it's every time, every week on Saturday, I have this live streaming. And if you can join with me, it's going to be, I'm going to appreciate it. And thank you so much. ありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。Bye. Thank you.